Hey guys, what's going on? It's the Rue Show
Me, Zach. Hello.
and Zach, and we're here to discuss the season finale of ReZero episode 66. Yeah,
Great.
it's pretty much the end of all the fights, mostly the gluttony fight, because all the other fights are pretty much over at this point, if I'm right. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically we get Betty coming in and we're like, yo, how is she awake? What is going on? She's like, fuck you. I don't have time to explain. I'm just gonna start attacking. So she does, and yeah, she pretty much starts kicking his ass.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a slight problem. She has the 6 crystals and she can only use 5 of them.
Which, don't forget, which I completely forgot, we were only here for these crystals to begin with when it comes to this entire reason why Amelia's camp is here are for these crystals. Completely forget
Right.
about it during the invasion.
So, just a side note, that's crazy that, okay, so Betty can get supercharged with these crystals. I think they're going to be more magical crystals. I know that, like, they came here specifically because Kira, Kiritaka, right?
Kiritaka,
Whatever.
yeah, Kiritaka is
Yeah.
his name.
Kiritaka was known to have magical crystals, but I think there are going to be more magical items that can supercharge Betty, where she's not going to be dependent on, supercharging her every day, so she can do one big attack like the greed fight and then pass the fuck out.
Yeah, which she did pass out though, also because she healed everybody. Correct? Wasn't that like a
Yes, she
reason?
did. She did prevent people from dying as well, but I mean
Still,
that should not be. Yeah, it shouldn't cost her much magic to do that.
yeah. So during the fight, Betty's putting in the work, and we have felt, quote unquote. It is felt, but obviously we see what happens where felt comes in. It's like, hey, I got my what is it called when you have a plot device to beat somebody?
Um, I hate this fucking term. Are you gonna ask me really?
Yeah,
I'm not the MacGuffin.
yeah, MacGuffin, or yeah, you got pretty much the MacGuffin to come in like, hey, this will beat this person. Here you go. Which, it's they were talking about it before. It's not out of nowhere. I'm being extra, but she brings it, but she has to fight live for a bit, and during that fight, Lie's like, I'm gonna get rid of you. Everyone's gonna forget about you. And what happens, Zach?
He vomits.
Yeah, just yeah, vomits.
Yeah. So, if you may have seen our earlier episodes and you may have read the extra book, it might be implied that Felt is the missing princess. Actually, I can bring it up now, and it's not a spoiler because that's where Wilhelm was when Teresa was sent to go fight the white whale.
Oh, they did say the fine. Yeah, that was like an order from the
Yeah.
kingdom, wasn't it?
I forgot. So, because when they adapted a little bit of that extras book, and even though it's from Teresa's perspective, the reason why Wilhelm doesn't go fight the white whale is because he was sent to go find the princess that got abducted, and it's implied to be Felt.
Which, if it is felt, because that isn't the whole the war, not the war. I'm gonna say succession war. What is it called again? Like the battle between
Human War.
not the demi-human war, but like for all the print, like why Krush and them all are going for the crown is because the whole royal family died, right? Pretty much, they couldn't find a
Yeah.
cure or something like that.
Yeah. So, there was a disease that struck the royal family, and it killed. If you read the first extras book, it was about Foyer Prince. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it looks like Foyer to me. And cool guy. Really liked his story. Felt really bad for Krush because Krush is like, they're a thing. But yeah, they get sick with some uncurable like disease, and it wipes out the entire royal family.
Yeah. just dead.
Yeah. But also, Lust is a member of the royal family too, technically.
She says she is, but is she? She says she
I
is.
mean,
We
we
don't
don't know
know.
for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, visually, she also has the blonde hair with the red eyes.
That's fair.
Like felt.
But getting back to the fight, Lai gets pretty much wrecked by the MacGuffin that comes in because he's like, "What's the name? What's your name? I don't know." She's like, "That's always been my name." Then Betty felt used the MacGuffin and just, which Betty knows how to use somehow, some way because of it used to be Ekidana's weapon.
Yeah.
So Betty knows
Or
how to use it.
Ekidana had it at one point.
Yeah, so yeah, that's probably a better way to put it. She had it. I don't know if she actually would be using it, but they pretty much beat Lai with one big gosh darn Kamehameha wave with it,
And then
everything's good,
when
right?
this popped up on screen, I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
I'll put an image on screen for the first time during a review. This image is what he's talking about. I was confused what was going on.
I paused it and called you and was like, "What the fuck?" And then I let it play, and then it was the third gluttony sibling appeared, but I thought they completely changed the design. I'm like, do not tell me that is what the fucking third gluttony sibling looks like, because that is fucking wild.
It's just it would be such a difference in tone by looking at them and like, yeah, it's a third sibling. It's like they look. No, are you sure they are siblings? Like,
and then she actually gets on screen, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, she comes in. Poor Otto and his to the bone to his legs.
Yeah,
like just gets cut.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's much. She pretty much just warns them and is like, she talks about how felt that's not your name. She's like, if you want to continue fighting, you can. But I mean, look at your boy. He's down on the ground. He ain't got no legs. Pretty much at this point, you might want to heal that.
He got no legs.
He ain't got no legs. He ain't got no legs. So y'all probably don't want to continue to fight. And pretty much, yeah, she leaves with Lai, and they leave. Betty and them leave. End of that whole story.
Yeah, and then we get a nice little reunion between Subaru and Betty and Amelia, still in torn wedding dress.
Yep, and it is such an adorable moment to see when Subaru sees Betty, because that is that man's daughter. He's like seems like a proud father.
Proud father.
That's what he seems.
Yeah,
like.
And then we just kind of check in on our characters. Garf is, recovering the bed. He gets his literal bones jumped by Mimi.
Yes, Mimi's good, which is nice to know. Fully,
yeah,
she's able to move again, so it's good to see.
We see Otto in bed with his just bloody fucking legs.
And
then we go pay a visit to, you called it, Wrath was not dead.
Yes, I called it. Wrath was not dead. If you don't, one thing about what film school taught me, if you don't see someone dead on screen, they ain't dead, and or gives us a reason for someone to bring a character back to life because you never saw them actually die. And Wrath has been, thrown in prison pretty much.
Yep. And Al's out there like, yo, you ain't going to get anything from her. Probably shouldn't talk to her. We're going to talk to her anyway. And then she proceeds to
sexually assault
Subaru.
I like how we both were thinking the exact. Proceeds to sexually assault Subaru. And I mean, the main thing which Al said you're not going to get anything out of her, but you did end up getting the watch out for all the other gluttonies, which for a Saint Archbishop to tell you to watch out for anything is kind of crazy because they don't work in tandem. They're all doing their own thing, whether it's because of the gospel. We don't know at this current time. They're all doing their own thing.
That's what Wrath says, is they're just doing what it says on the gospel. So to me, that would imply that it's like it shows them, once you get a gospel, it shows them what they desire and how to go about getting that. Because Regulus is not a man who would have done anything for anybody else.
other than himself. I mean,
So the fact that he was even in Prestellia, shows that he's acting according to the gospel. Like we know from Pedal Juice that obviously he is literally reading the words of the gospel, trying to figure out what to do. We don't know if it's like how Pedal Juice became the way he was, through the his authority. Because I'm unsure because I haven't read that yet, but in this downtime, I'm planning on getting caught up with everything that's released. Maybe I'll come to an answer. But I'm pretty sure he was already a member of the witch cult
I mean, he had the
back
clothes.
with yeah, back with Fortuna. But I don't think that were always evil then.
They didn't seem extreme yet. They just seemed like a group of normal people that had a club.
But Regulus was definitely the way he was, and we had um, Pandora and Melancholy.
Yeah. And going back,
And
oh, sorry.
yeah,
Oh, I was going to add to the Regulus thing about how he just goes to the gospel and doesn't listen to orders, is because we see in that flashback how he just like tries to kill Pandora, like who is supposedly what we're seeing as the audience, like seems to be the leader, almost in a way. We don't know, but from as an looking at it, I'm like, oh, that she seems like she's the one that's in control because she's the only one that doesn't have a name that's an archbishop.
right. And she was with the white whale.
With Teresa's moment.
Yeah, but I mean, she was also with the. We saw the blacks. What the fuck's it called? The snake, the black snake.
I don't know what's the black snake.
The black snake was in the OVA, but that's
I don't
the
remember.
third great demon beast. There's the whale, the bunny, and the snake. And the snake is if it touches you, you burn to death, even if you cut your limb off. Because remember Archie, like Amelia's like older brother slash cousin slash whatever who the fuck he was. He gets touched by the snake as they're running away, and he like literally cuts his leg off, and then but it still burns up his body and shit, and he explodes.
I don't think I've ever seen the OVA.
We watched it together.
I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, we watched it together.
How many Jack and Cokes did I have?
There.
Oh my gosh.
Fair.
But to get back on the wrath and the interrogation, pretty much doesn't lead to much information other than they're going by the gospel and watch out for the gluttonies
And and telling Subaru, I know he's in you and I'm gonna pull him out.
he's got Regulus in him too, but in a way.
Um so yeah, that's basically all we get out of that. I mean, we get a funny moment where Amelia hits her with an ice hammer.
Yeah,
Um
which just I don't. She should have some broken ribs. I'm sorry, that hammer hitting her like that. I know some characters don't. I feel like she should be like barely functional. But then she sings very nice song from this. That was it. The songstress song that she was singing.
I think so. She was very badly. She was singing, yeah. But I also find it strange why her authority didn't really activate. And I don't know. I think I don't know why it doesn't. Like, not even like, even like, how it was lingering even with, um,
When she wasn't there like at all in the room
yeah,
with
it
some
was
people.
lingering around. So I don't know if it's because she was incapacitated or what, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
So that then we go to see Al.
Yep, and
By
out.
the way, Al's the one that woke Betty up, had the crystals.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and since this is the end of the season, and I don't think we'll be in Prestellia anymore, it's implied that either Al or um Priscilla, but I read the way I was getting it. It was Al.
Flooded the city.
Al was doing his own thing, and Priscilla is the one that opened the floodgate.
Oh, Priscilla was the one that opened the floodgate. Okay, I wasn't sure. It was one of the two that would have probably
Yeah,
opened it up.
because she was watching um the battle go down and realized she needed to act. Maybe she's got a heart of gold after all, and if I was in this world, I'd fix her.
So we see Al. We talk to Al. Pretty much everyone is suspicious of Al at this point. Like Subaru's even. I don't. Is it in the anime how Subaru's suspicious of Al as much as it's shown? Because everyone's like, oh, I gotta keep my eye out for him.
Well, it's because in the anime, like they just have him leaving Wrath, but they talk to Al before they go in there too.
Okay.
Like Al, like they talk to Al twice in this scene. Like I guess in this scene.
Yeah. So yeah.
But
Subaru
they only
says
show
what the
him.
hell was Al plotting on his own anyway. That's way too shady.
Yeah.
I don't think Al's a bad guy. Amelia says. And then
But
he helps wake
yeah,
him
I
up.
think
And we skip a scene.
what? Yeah, I also think I do think our theory is right. I do think Al is returning by death.
In a different way.
I think it might be the same way. Because how would Subaru notice the difference? You know what I mean? Like you're only getting like the way that we're watching the show, Subaru when he overcomes whatever the obstacle is, you know, that is obviously the history we know, but that's the history that the other characters know. So Subaru wouldn't necessarily know Al's returning to death because Al is going from his reality. Like it's just from his perspective. So it would be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out.
It would be. And I think I prefer that. But in my headcanon at the moment, I'm going with he has a power of return by death, but in the sense of he might not be able to return by death the way Subaru can return by death. In the sense of maybe when he dies, he goes back 15 seconds. Like he dies, back 15 seconds or wherever. Like you kind of remember how Subaru during the very beginning of this arc when Wrath happens, where it's such a short time frame. Really, realistically, you can't change much. And like Subaru wouldn't notice it. No one would notice a 10 to 15 second going back in time. Obviously, none of our characters other than Subaru.
So it's like he has enough. Yeah. So that would make sense. Like during the Lust fight, he'd have enough time to learn how to dodge and where she's going to attack. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, which then
he'd
it
have
wouldn't
enough time
affect.
to learn how to dodge and all that.
Because that to me makes the most sense with it. Only because like if you try to say, oh, he can return by death at a certain save point, maybe he just doesn't die for a long time, so he's just going with the reality that's ahead of him. But like to me, it makes sense if that is the case. It's such a short time that I mean, time travel's a bitch. Let's be honest. It's hard to like pinpoint how things work. Steins Gate did it best, I still argue, but
yeah, I mean, this time travel is also predetermined by Teppy. It's not. There's no set rules.
Yeah, it's just
like
plot
because we had Subaru was coming back 3 days in the Sanctuary plot, 10 minutes in this arc, and it was like Teppy decides when as he calls it, as Subaru calls it, the flag is triggered.
Yeah,
because he's using terms from our world. Anyway, moving on, we get a cute moment where Betty's like, I have the crystal, we can try to get Puck. We see Amelia smile. We all love seeing that. Then we get a meeting of the minds here where they're like, what are we gonna do with Wrath? Blah, 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 blah. We're gonna take her back to this.
Yeah,
to
Reinhardt's gonna take her back to the capital.
That sounds like a
horrible idea. It sounds like you should cut her head off and say, we got a Sin Archbishop. Trying to transport a Sin Archbishop, I don't care if you have Reinhardt on your side, that could lead to so many. We saw it with, like, Reinhardt can kill her easily. Like, I'm not worried about that, but that can lead to so many unwanted casualties that it is insane.
I don't understand why. Like, they try to justify it, but I do not understand the purpose of keeping her alive. You're not gonna break her. Like it to me, this is the dumbest plan any of these characters have. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I know they wanna try to find Lust to heal Crush,
Mm-hmm.
but see, all this doesn't make any because um we're gonna talk about something at the end of this video.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about a couple
And
things missed and skipped at the end of this video because there's one conversation between two characters I think should have been a part of this that wasn't.
yeah, but where like what's happening, what happens next kind of makes this whole thing pointless. But anyway, we see Priscilla just in the shadows, kind of just smiling at Subaru, like, hey, you know, you have a great idea about keeping her alive for whatever reason or something like that. Whatever the fuck she says right here. Then we go forward some more. They're like, all right, it's decided. Reinhardt's going to take him to take Wrath to the capital with Felt and blah, blah, blah.
And Amelia's gonna put everyone that's a bug into a sleep.
Yeah.
So if you're a bug or a
Asleep.
monster, she's gonna do what she did during the Regulus fights or all of them to give them time to find a cure.
Right.
And
then
and then
we
a
get
montage.
yeah, we get a sunrise. We get Lilian singing.
Hmm.
We get Kiritaka thanking him for, you know, destroying the whole fucking city. We get Priscilla again, just looking hot.
Also, Kiritaka. Just want to add this because I thought it was dumb initially. Kiritaka gives them the crystal for saving the city because they're like, let's give it back to Kiritaka, and then it's like Kiritaka's like, here you go, thanks for saving the city. You get to keep the crystal,
Right.
which is a very small thing, but it part of me was thinking that while watching the episode. For those that don't know, I did read ahead because to finish the novel for this. So,
I told him
yeah.
I literally was like, wait, because he watched the episode before I did, and I mentioned something. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, dude, you have to read this because I cannot believe they did not do this. And like I said, we will talk about it here
Yeah,
in a minute.
because let's go with we see the kids at Subaru and Amelia, the thing that started it off. I don't remember their names, the boy and the girl.
It's Lush Bell or something like that.
Yeah, whatever their names are, they're having fun. All the death and destruction, they're kids. They don't know what's going on. They're having fun playing around after being hostages. But then, yeah, we see Ricardo. Subaru talks to Ricardo. Then he sees a man from a distance. And this is a great edit. This is a fantastic edit, by the way, for this.
The way see, like, all right, I do give them shit for some of the how they change things. I love this last 58 seconds.
Dude, the happy music, the happy dun, 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 because the world is continuing on. Like it's still going on
Right.
because obviously you're here. Who is Julius? AKA Julius. No one remembers the man. And the happy music is just going on because the world is going on and moving on without him. And you just get the most happy-go-lucky dun, 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 music. And it's great during that.
The way they animated his face, the way he looks and they animated his face, that's incredible. I love that they did it this way. The way that they did it in the book, I did not really like.
I didn't vibe
that.
with the
Like,
book.
It wasn't a big. This is like the same level of who is Ram. Like, wait, what?
Yeah. So,
Okay. So
yeah.
that being said,
Before we get into spoilers.
now so there's what?
Oh, wait, sorry.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. Okay.
No, I'm talking about so with gluttony, there are 3 gluttony siblings, triplets, twin, whatever siblings. You have Lai, you have Alfred, and you have Rui. The book, in the show, they give him a nickname. They give him 3 nicknames too. I didn't really like what they called them, but in the book, I believe there's gourmet, garbage, and I had it earlier.
I think the show calls him that too. Wrath.
No, they call them 2 different things. It's garbage, gourmet, and something else. Anyway, so we know all 3 of them do something different.
Yeah.
We know Lai takes takes your memory and puts you in a coma.
Yep, I'd still say that's the worst one.
Alfred, who we thought was, the twin, takes your memory but leaves you walking around
Mm-hmm.
and you remember who you are. Rui takes your memory and you have no idea who you are.
And the world does, which Rui
So
had to
we
be
have
there for the cruise fight, by the way.
yeah. So Rui had to be there for the cruise fight. Um Obviously Alfard, whatever,
You just got super
has
dark, by the way.
oh, because my TV, yeah, my TV's like turned off.
Okay.
I have the thing playing in the background. Um, yeah. So anyway, um, we see all three of their powers and how they affect the world.
Yep.
So we saw that once Lai went down, we know Lai's the one that could potentially bring Rem back. Rui is the one that could potentially uh, heal Krush, and Alfred's the one that could potentially uh, heal the memory of Julius.
Yep.
So that's where we end with the show. They already announced a season 4.
Yep.
So
Preview's already out.
And they already kind of the voice actor for Subaru, the Japanese voice actor for Subaru, promised to not make us wait 4 years. So I'm assuming that they like knew they were going to get renewed, so they started animating the next arc as well.
If I had to make a guess, we're looking at a 27 release. I don't know when in 2027, but probably 2027.
Yeah, I was going to say probably about 2 years. It might even be March of, I don't know, I forget, I don't know the anime seasons.
Spring, summer, like normal season. So this would have been winter season technically, because spring season's coming up. So
Okay.
I would assume, if I had to make a guess, 2027 winter at the earliest, which is 2026, 2027 winter
Right.
at the earliest, but a good chance of spring 2027 would be my most likely you will see it, because usually it takes 2 years for, if they're doing this not in a 4-year span. ReZero likes to do it, but like looking at the jobless reincarnations and the animation quality, where people will be like, why are we getting another season next year? A lot of shows don't get a season next year when they have this much quality. So
Right. So that's that. If we talk about the thing now.
all right, let's talk about 3 things. Let's start with so this is a spoiler warning. If you do not want to know anything past the episode, you can leave now. Do not keep watching. This is a spoiler warning for literally just what happens immediately after, and some stuff that the book and the show, or that left out, that I at least found important. Didn't matter, didn't have to be in it, but I wanted it in it. So first thing I want to talk about is the Subaru and Wilhelm conversation that was just completely fucking cut out. And I felt like that was such an emotional big thing that happened, and we just didn't see it.
So can you remind me of because I was gonna do the big thing.
We'll save the big thing for last. The Wilhelm and Subaru conversation was pretty much after the aftermath, when they leave the tunnel after talking to Wrath. There's the recovery effort going on. Subaru sees Wilhelm and sees that he's got like a look to him, and goes up to talk to him pretty much about the whole thing with him and Teresa. And pretty much talk to him, and it's like, damn, man, like Subaru's really a bro. And Wilhelm's like going to say something to Subaru, and then couldn't get the words out still.
Yeah, that's very much in line with Wilhelm's character. Like, even his best friend Grimm, he, like, think about it. He never told Teresa he loved her. He never said the words "I love you" until she fucking died. So yeah, Subaru is a bro. We know Subaru is a bro. That's why we love Subaru. But yeah,
and then a lot of stuff. a lot of stuff moved around when it comes to the Julius moment, because the Julius moment doesn't, it kind of happens literally right after this. Doesn't feel like it's big, to be honest. Like the show did it 20
Really?
times better.
Yeah, it really does not, because I'm like, why the fuck is Julius running away?
Yeah. Like it just didn't feel, it felt weird. Like reading it, I'm like, this, and I've already watched the episode at this point. I was like, this just kind of felt out of nowhere versus the show, which does it so perfectly. Like kudos to the show. Like Julius is just running away in an alley. Subaru confronts him, kind of the same thing, like same dialogue lines. Emilia comes up with Betty. I'm pretty sure Betty's with them too for it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's pretty much, hey guys, this is Julius. Like during those meetings we see with everybody, Julius is there with Subaru because Subaru has to be like, this is Julius. Anyone remember him? And they're like,
oh yeah, don't forget, Julius informs them, like, hey, Anastasia, this is your night. Like, we see Julius, by the way, we see Julius's brother in the tent, passed out,
mm-hmm.
like unconscious, like how the other people whose names were stolen by gluttony are passed out. So he's there. He knows. He was just so shocked that Subaru knew him.
Yeah.
So,
And I think
good.
I was gonna say, I think the show cut that part out too. When during that meeting, when they bring up how, oh, we have to freeze all the people that turn to flies. They didn't really bring up everyone who lost their memories, or like the people. What do they call them? Like the forgotten people. They have a certain name. And yeah. The forgotten, and like I think that was didn't brought up, so people didn't think of Julius at that moment, or didn't. So the shock factor of it all could be there. But that was brought up to the main stage, and they're like, yeah, we'll keep them in a room, and we'll make sure they're safe, because no one can identify who they are, because guess what? You can only really identify, that kind of looks like someone that will be related to me, and that's it.
Right. So yeah, it's crazy that I just love how they animated it. I love the look on Julius's face. It shows like, fuck, because remember, he's also called the finest knight. He has somewhat of an ego, so the fact that no one remembers him is a huge thing.
And it's so this, I saw it on Twitter and I sent it to Zach as well, where it's pretty much a that's rough buddy moment when Julius tells Subaru like, yeah, that I know why you want revenge on gluttony. If that happened to me, man, I understand, man. I get you. But it's not, it feels like it's like, you know, when you're like saying, yeah, you got a problem, I'm not gonna ever have that problem, but I appreciate your I see the problem you have. And it's like, oh no, well, Julius,
yeah,
now you got that problem too. Nice foreshadowing. Yeah. But
okay,
now the big one.
So now the big one. So if you've been watching this season, or at least these episodes that me and Rob have been doing, I hinted at the animation fuck something up. In every scene in the book, Anastasia is wearing a fox scarf around her neck. We see it once in the first episode where she's wearing the fox. In the rest of the anime, she is not wearing it. The fox holds an artificial spirit that her and that the artificial spirit and Anastasia have a, I don't know if it's a pact per se, but they have an understanding.
It's the same way like a Betty and Subaru pack in a way, where it's like we have an understanding.
Yes, sort of. But the fox spirit takes over Anastasia's body and can use magic. That's why Al knew she wasn't who she said she was. Now, the problem with it is that the artificial spirit cannot leave Anastasia's body. So this is, and I understand why I can see why they cut it out of this episode. It's because this sets up the arc.
It sets up the first episode perfectly for next.
Yeah, arc 6. Well, this said the ending of this book, like, they basically did the prologue to the next book, even though the next book has a prologue. It explains why Anastasia's like, all right, we have to go here.
And
we also know ask you.
Oh, sorry.
I I was gonna ask you if you wanted to know like what they wanted, like what they're going to do. She explain where they were
Yeah, that
going?
that was explained during the meeting. They explained where they're going. They're saying how they. Before I say that though, I just want to say, I still think the mic drop of this episode, which if they had just one more, if they just had one more for this season, would have been like where you end the entire season off is when Subaru confronts Anastasia because Subaru's like something's off, talks to Anastasia, and Anastasia, which is the fox spirit at this moment, says, "My name is Ekidana." End the episode there. End the episode there. End the season there. My name is Ekidana. Boom.
Yes,
And that would have been the moment.
I literally read that at like 12:30 at night, and I was about to call Rob and be like, "What the fuck?" I kept reading. I didn't call him. So yes, the fox spirit, artificial spirit, is Ekidana,
Ekidana.
but it is not
Ekidana that
the
we
Witch
know.
of Greed.
But before to answer your question that you did ask, they talk about during the meeting how if maybe I'm confusing myself. When talking about the bugs, like yeah, there's a witch or not a witch or something like there's
A
a sage out there that Reinhardt couldn't get through the barrier of. He just kept getting pushed back. This man went to the moon and came back and can't get through that freaking barrier. So
It's a desert.
Yeah.
It's a desert region of the world, and there's a sage there that supposedly is all knowing, and not Anastasia, Fox. So Subaru gives her the name Foxy Donna, Fox Donna.
Yeah, because
Foxy
saying
Donna, I think
Subaru really hates Ekidana. I didn't know Subaru hated Ekidana to that level. Knew the man didn't like her, but when he hears her name is Ekidana, he's going off. He's like, what? He's still like on edge around her consistently.
He's triggered. He's
triggered. He's so triggered.
Anyway, so because this artificial spirit cannot go back into the body of the fox, she's like, I want to go with you to find out if it's possible. Now, also, side note, when they asked for the artificial spirit, they could have been referring to Ekidana, not Betty.
Mm-hmm, that was a
it's
big
not
thing.
Clear which one they were referring to, and they make a note of that. Anyway, so basically, Anastasia's like, listen, I've spent enough, or Ekidana says, I've been spending enough time with Anastasia to know how a merchant negotiates. You need to know where to find gluttony. And now that you have, I guess, my knight with me, we're all going to go and try to find this stage.
Because she wants to get back into the fox spirit. Like, the fox spirit wants to figure out why she can't go back in. Which is why she wants to see the sage.
Yes. So she basically puts Subaru in a position where he can't say no. So he's got to help this spirit Ekidana, but Rob is right. He is going off. He's like, basically like, fuck you, bitch. I am not helping you at all.
Mm-hmm.
But instead it's, so they agree to go, and that sets up the next arc. Yeah.
Yes. And she adds one other thing too, where she says, yeah, don't you have someone that you probably want to bring along with this trip with, we need a test subject pretty much in a way to see if this sage can do some magic, and it's Rem.
It is Rem. They do mention that they're going to go
back to
they're going to use Rem. Yeah, they're going to go back to the mansion, but yeah, they're going to get Rem to see if they can wake her up with the sage.
Yep.
And that is the end of the book.
Yeah, I have not read past the end of the book. Well, I did read like the first chapter after the next one, but nothing too far ahead at this point.
Yeah, I started reading. I think I got done with the prologue, so I'm ready to get into the actual story proper. But it's very odd that they do not have the fox scarf on Anastasia at all.
And I was trying to think logically. I was like, okay, why would they do this? Is it a rewrite? Are they going to say, is Anastasia's spirit in that belt, and maybe the fox spirit didn't want it to get harmed, so she, the moments we don't see her with it, that's been the fox spirit the entire time. And the moments you see her with it, which is the beginning, that means the fox spirit is in the belt. I know in the book it's she has the belt on the entire time, but maybe the show is going to say season 4 episode 1. Yes, Anastasia's in that fur felt. Like, I didn't want to wear that because I didn't want to put her in harm's way during the invasion. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I can see that. But like every time it is mentioned, it literally says she pats her box scarf. And I guess I should have realized the reason why they keep bringing up this fucking scarf is because there's another reason to it. But even the season 4 picture that they released,
Does she not?
She's not wearing it.
Maybe they just moved it to her hat's the device or something. Because I don't know.
She wore her hat in the Capitol.
It's so weird. It could just be an animation error. Like, it was supposed to be there, and then someone forgot to put it in, and they're like, "Oh, that's a mess up." But that's a huge mess up, it seems like. So I just have to think they're rewriting it in some form or fashion. Like it, right?
I think, yeah, because like I'm looking at the episode now, and she's still not wearing it.
Yeah,
like even when she does magic in the bed pretending to be Cruz, she's not wearing it.
She was wearing it in episode 1, like you can see it around her neck. I'm just going with the moment you stop seeing it around her neck is the moment that is when the fox spirit has taken over, and she's got it on actually in episode, like not the belt but the thing around her neck. That's what we're talking about, right? Or the full on belt.
Yeah, the scarf.
Yeah. She's got on episode 54. It looks like, at least the choker, not the belt. I don't know. I'm just scrolling through episodes as we're talking live. But either way, that's where we end up on for this. So
yeah, so that's the end of the season.
That's the end of the season. So, Zach, your thoughts on the season? Because I think it was better than season 1 and 2.
I thought it was pretty good. There was a lot. I just think we got a lot of fighting. I think we finally got to the point. Well, like season 1 and season 2, you have to you basically, you're setting everything up. So this is like, all right, this is the fight arc.
This is we've been finally set up for all of this. Let's actually go into everything's been set up in character development, which has been fantastic setup. Fantastic. Because I mean, at the end of the day, Subaru and Amelia aren't fully fleshed out. I mean, they're still growing as characters, but they are finally at the point where they can actually sit at the table with the other characters like Anastasia, Krush, and all of them. They can finally sit at this table.
Yeah, and we never saw we didn't see anyone fight except for Krush. We didn't know, like, the Anastasia doing magic thing. Like, all right, that's a twist even Al didn't see. But we didn't know, like, Priscilla was not very nice the whole time. So we tried, but we didn't know exactly how powerful she was. We thought she was just a rich girl.
Yeah, that's what I thought until
Abel thing. But no, she can hold her own, and Felt can hold her own. So, like, it's a legitimate competition.
Yeah. So that's the season.
Yeah. If you want to see us talk about the game, let us know. Because I think now would be the perfect time to do it, because the game called Prophecy of the Throne is a reimagining of the Capital arc, but done in a way that all the characters are involved.
It's like if Tuppy had a chance to change his story, he's like, this is what I'd do.
Yeah, there's Prophecy of the Throne is like I said, a what if. All the princesses are in there. None of them do anything like this. Like, they don't, like, Priscilla doesn't use her fire magic. Anastasia helps negotiate. And Krush doesn't attack in the game either. But it kind of like introduces you to all the factions in a different way than what we get in the anime or the book. And it's quite interesting. Um, However, I think we might actually have to wait because I didn't understand one plot point in the game. And so I like looked it up who like a character was. And when I read who the character was, it was attached to lust. And I think it's coming up in a future book that would make it make more sense. Like I could tell you the whole game and it wouldn't spoil anything because it's a what if. But I was like, what the fuck are these things and where did it come from?
Yeah.
And when I looked into it, it was something attached to lust.
Gotcha.
So, um, but like I said, we could do the game itself because it's a nice what if in between, um, everything. Kettle Juice makes an appearance.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah. So let us know about that. I guess a long-winded way of saying that.
But hey,
Do you have anything else you want to add?
no, I think that's probably it. Gonna try to do some live reactions myself to upload to the channel. I don't know what I'll be live reacting to, but I'm going to probably do that. So if you made it this far, I think there's a show coming out that maybe Zach, if you want to review with me, because I think it's a show I want to do live reaction to, but I would love to review it as well. Is The Beginning After the End, I believe is what it's called. And it's a web novel, I want to say. I just have had people tell me that it's goated, and I don't know I don't know if it's actually goated or not. So I would love to read it, or not read it, watch it, but don't know what's about.
Yeah.
I know it's an isekai. I'm like 90% sure it's an isekai. So,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. But anywho,
Well, yeah.
that is it, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And ciao.
Bye.